What do you think about that? Tremors is basically The Shining.
Hey, it's your guy Ren. Welcome to Cinema Slime, the podcast for film lovers who can't stop talking about the movies that move us, confuse us, or just make us want to yell at the screen. I'm joined, as always, by my brilliant co-hosts Harrison and Scott. Let's go.
Apple, peaches, pumpkin pie. Who? What's that from? Hold on.
Bum, bum, bum.
Apple,
Bop, bop,
peaches,
bop.
pumpkin
Ba-da-ba-da.
pie.
A duck walked into a lemonade stand, and he said to the man running the stand,
You know what that is? It's from Schoolhouse Rock. It's counting by fives.
and 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50.
His tiny hands are up to his face like this, and it's
100, ready or not.
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Apple, peaches, pumpkin pie. Who's not ready? Holler
What movie did we watch where they were playing the Schoolhouse Rock in the background? What was that? It was on this show. Oh, it was Detroit Rock City.
Was it?
Yeah, when they're like in class.
Like what would even have had a TV in it?
Yeah, you're right. I had a pretty busy day, so I didn't have a lot of time to think about things to talk about. But I do have one thing we need to address. We did not mention once the power of the Fifth Element soundtrack. And I feel like we've done a disservice to all of our listeners. I just want to acknowledge that it's freaking banger. It's
Still wet.
awesome. It's actually like there's parts when it's in the movie, and I was like, this is weird. But when you listen to the soundtrack by itself, it's so much better.
I just loved that it was like unironically just straight up Eurotechno in a movie.
Some parts, but that's what's cool. The wit, the variety on the soundtrack is what is like its true strength. It's really good, and then it's got super cinematic. Like, have you guys seen Annihilation?
No, but I've heard great things about it though.
Yeah, same.
It's insane, super weird, but the soundtrack is like the most haunting thing you'll ever hear. But there's elements of this certain part of Annihilation's soundtrack that's in the Fifth Element, and I didn't realize that the Fifth Element was first.
I also want to say at the end of last episode, we were like, Ren, what's your ideal movie length? And you were like, 96 minutes.
Yeah.
The exact length of the movie we're talking about today.
I feel like that was just like a foreshadow, you know? Like, I'm just going to lay the groundwork and someone will notice and they'll be like, oh my gosh, Ren, it's the perfect movie.
We called it. Well, next week's film is not short.
Yeah, I actually still don't know what it's about.
Me either, and I'm like 30 minutes in. It's really good, but I don't know what it's about yet.
I'm still going in 100% blind. I had no idea anything about it.
That's the best way.
I've been putting together my ideal time travel category list for one day when we actually get there.
Yeah.
And I put La Jetée on there, which is this French film that runs 30 minutes long. And each shot is a still photograph that lasts like 10 to 20 seconds long.
Wow.
And it like crazy to find like avant-garde time travel films. And I watched a YouTube video about it like 3 years ago, and I've just been looking for an excuse to watch it. This is one of those movies that if it gets on there, this is like, okay, go watch it, spend like 4 days researching what the crap you just watched, then come back, rewatch it, and then we can talk about it. Dude, otherwise, the whole podcast would be, what?
What was that? Yeah, I'm not
here.
shocked that that is on your list at all, Scott.
So this is a good segue into this book that I didn't finish it because I'm watching the movies as I go along, but it's called Transcendental Style in Film, written by Paul Schrader, one of like the most famous like screenplay writers. Every movie I've seen that he's written is incredible. I think what this book talks about are these different styles of directing. Ozu, Bresson, and Dreyer, these old school directors. And what they talk about is like how they will purposely have certain shots last like not uncomfortably long, but way longer than normal, because it basically like forces the viewer's brain to like think more, and like you add your own context to the scene. It's to be honest, I wouldn't recommend any of these films to someone just like out of the blue, because like it's legit boring unless you're like looking for this certain like, it's like a directing trick. I don't know what it is, how to describe it exactly, but it is. Anyways, That's now I want to watch. What's it called? Lethargic? Chocolat? What's it called?
La Jetée.
La Jetée.
It's The Jetty.
Oh,
So Orson Welles, when he was directing Citizen Kane, one of the things that made that movie stand out so much was he just pushed the editing to the limits. Like
I need to
he
rewatch
did
it.
he did storytelling through the editing. And that hadn't been done before because there wasn't film to mess around with editing. It was like plays. And there were other forms of storytelling, visual forms of storytelling, but with movies, you can mess with time, you can mess with emotions and stuff just by not just by the shots, but how long the shots are there and like stuff like that. And so Citizen Kane is one of those movies that you watch it and you're like, this is crazy, but it was the first that did it, and it really defined a lot about how films were edited in a more I don't know, structured or purposeful way. But he pushed the limits so much that the movie just feels crazy with just like crazy flipping around camera angles and stuff like that. So
that movie is
that time period when they just mess with stuff because there were no conventions. They just made them up.
Yep.
And some stuck.
Well, thanks for verbalizing everything that I was trying to say and making it sound so much better.
Hey, Ren, I love you.
See, me and Ren couldn't do this show by ourselves because we just need everything to filter through Scott and be like, that's what we meant. Like,
shut up, guys.
thank you, Scott. It's so much
on-site
better.
Translator. Yeah, we can laugh about it, but I'm not joking at all.
No, honestly, like, I'm going through and editing like a couple episodes, and the amount of times that I'm like, yeah, there was this cool thing where like one character did X and a character did Y. I don't know what it means, but it was cool. And then Scott's like, well, let me tell you about it, son.
Yeah.
So my son had, it sounds weird to say awakening, but he had a moment. That was pretty awesome. So this is the summer of Jamie realizing that girls are interesting.
Yes.
It's pretty great. I think I told you about the experience he had at Disneyland. He had one the other day. Me and him went and saw Fantastic Four together. He was really mad that we went and saw it without him. So he's like, Dad, you need to bring me to go see it. And I'm like, oh darn, I have to go see a movie that I loved, and it's a Marvel movie. I'm okay, I guess I'll go see it again. And we're sitting there watching it. And there's Sue Storm is kind of a big character in that film. And there's one scene where she has this really big speech, and Jamie just leans over to me and goes, Dad, that is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. He was just like, just enamored with, what's her name? Something Kirby. I can't remember her first name, but he was just like, oh my gosh. And then after the movie, I asked him, I was like, so Jamie, do you like the movie? And she's like, yeah, I really like that blonde girl. She was really pretty. I was like, all right, buddy. Like, at least you got a type or something. Like, tall, skinny, blonde ladies.
I'm going to come clean on something. And luckily, I have another buddy, David, who's admitted to the same thing. So I feel pretty confident in sharing to everyone this little glimpse into my mind, my developing brain. Okay. I forget how it came up. But we were talking about, I think we were talking about like the Lion King and like that look that Nala gives Simba.
It's
like
all good.
how,
I get it.
Like, dude, they should have rated that movie PG-13 just from that one scene. But then we kind of went down this rabbit hole of like formative movies, and I can't remember who admitted it first, but we were like, yeah, I remember like being really confused at like how attracted I was to Ursula the Sea Witch when I was like 4, and I was like, dude, me too. What the heck? And we all know why, but it was so funny.
I'm gonna call Kevin out on this one. I remember we were just talking about movies. Like, anyways, we were just talking about old movies we watched growing up, and we brought up All Dogs Go to Heaven, which is the main artist on there. The main artist on that is John Bluth. And he told me, he was like, I don't know what it is, but that movie is like the weirdest. It's got this weird, like sexual, like something. Like, I'm so uncomfortable whenever I watch anything that John Bluth touched.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is.
Anything
Like I want to watch a YouTube video. It's like, this is why.
Yeah. It's like grungy and like nasty.
And they move almost too much.
I could see that.
Is this kind of weird?
Cool.
Like,
is this American Tail?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Rats of Nim.
Yes.
Yeah. Dragon's Lair, if you want to go into video games.
Bible Goes West.
John Bluth's stuff is freaking incredible. But yeah, it's all really like almost uncomfortable. just visually.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
don't know if it's like, okay, I might cut this. like-
Nah, you're not cutting this.
I
You're
know.
not cutting
In
this.
All Dogs Go to Heaven, I feel like there's a lot of scenes of dogs like rolling over on their stomach. And if it's a female dog, they're just like stretched out a little much. or like just, I don't know
I
what it
see.
is.
Yeah,
But there's
yeah, yeah.
there's something there that you're just like, John, can we just talk just for a second? like,
Little innuendo.
oh yeah. Well, okay, look, coming from a guy who reads a lot of X-Men comics, there is a lot of moments in X-Men where you're like, I feel like you did that just because you have that kink. Like there's like you did not need to dress her up in this like lingerie, like back in Victorian era style type of thing. You didn't have to do that, but you still did it. so
Has Jamie seen any of those films? You know, maybe this is why.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I'm corrupting my son already.
Let's blame Don Bluth and Disney and
Oh, Don Bluth. Why?
Don Bluth. All right.
I think it is Don Bluth. I think I've been saying John Bluth this whole time, but I think it's Don. It's Don. It's Don.
We gotta have one person that we totally respect, that we totally misname in every episode. It wouldn't be Cinema Slime if we were like clear.
Did Don Bluth do oh my gosh, not Tinkerbell. What's the other kid movie that has a very tiny little fairy in it? Thumbelina. Thumbelina. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did he do Thumbelina?
Yeah. I already know, yes. Yeah, he did because of the artwork, the style of it all.
Man, I haven't seen that forever.
A lot of Don Bluth cartoons, when they talk, they like lick their mouths a lot.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
the head moves
and their eyes.
Yeah.
That is weird. That's like brain mind control.
Now, it's funny. Paige has communicated that all of those Don Bluth movies are uncomfortable, but she's never made the connections, and I've never told her why. But it's that. It's the mouth moving, like it feels like a crazy person.
Okay, guys, Titan AE is definitely Don Bluth's best movie.
There's the
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he did Titan AE. He also did Anastasia, which I grew up. It was just always on.
Movie. No,
Land Before Time. Oh, Land Before Time.
Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
You know what? Okay, look. Yeah,
the Troll in Central Park.
Wow. What a great run of movies. Like Sleeping Beauty is that's like my favorite like classic Disney movie. I absolutely love it.
No. Don Bluth worked. He was an animator for Disney, and then he left Disney.
Yeah, he left Disney. Oh, I think his first movie was Secrets of NIMH. His first Don Bluth Studios was Secret of NIMH.
Okay, we're watching a Don Bluth movie, just so you guys know. We're gonna do this. And honestly, I kind of want it to be All Dogs Go to Heaven, just because like I haven't seen it in forever, but I feel like that's a movie where I'm like, wow, this is really freaking wild. Like there's some interesting choices in this movie. Just the plot, the way it looks, the feel, that giant crocodile, like kind of like you were saying, with that giant mouth that's just like slobbering all over the place all the time.
Well, let's get into Tremors. That was a great segue somehow. I'm sure it was.
You know what, Scott? Like you usually have very smooth transitions. I feel like you copped out on this one.
Just please cut that one out.
Okay.
Just cut to the intro.
Here. I got one.
Oh
Speaking of wild movies.
All right, here we go. Okay,
Speaking of a movie.
You think your job sucks? Try being Val and Earl, two handymen in the butt crack of nowhere, Perfection, Nevada, whose biggest daily challenge is trying not to die of boredom. That is, until they discover the ground beneath them is no longer just dirt, but a buffet for giant flesh-hungry worms. Now, their pathetic dream of escaping their dead-end town has turned into a nightmare-fueled scramble for survival. To stand a chance against these massive subterranean creatures, they have to team up with everyone in their little town, a visiting awkward seismologist, and two gun-hoarding doomsday preppers who are finally getting their money's worth. It's a balls-to-the-wall fight to save themselves from becoming worm chum, and it's one hell of a ride. This is 1990's Tremors.
Scott, this was on your list, wasn't it?
Yeah, this one was mine.
so jealous. I wanted this
Dude,
on my
me
list.
too.
This is a good one.
Like, this is one that's just like, no, you should be proud that it was on your list.
Yeah, usually I'm the one that's like, oh, I need a like deep movie or whatever. I was like, no. I'm gonna put Tremors and Bubba Hotep on my list, and they won't get picked, but I'll put them on.
And guess
So
what?
I'm really excited about Tremors. Yeah, so I watched this movie, God, not actually that long ago. Maybe, okay, I'm getting old, so I guess it was a while ago. Probably 10 years ago. I've seen this movie.
First time?
I've seen it twice.
Okay.
So I watched it once about 10 years ago because Paige was like, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I was like, that's a little uncharacteristic. What's up with this? And I thought it was funny at the time, but I mean, it was like funny, but not like amazing funny. I watched it this time and I just could not stop laughing. I loved this movie so hard this time. Yeah, it was really good. I'm glad that we got to watch it, especially after we had so many movies in a row that were either really deep or really hard. And so this one just being exactly what it was and unashamedly so is just great.
Yeah.
No, honestly, yeah. What a whiplash from Devil All the Time compared to this one. This was a nice little coming up for air kind of a movie. It was just funny for, when you think about the context of this movie. So let's see. So yeah, my experience with this movie, I remember watching this as a kid. I think this actually was the very first quote unquote scary movie I ever watched as a kid. And I didn't watch scary movies very often, but I think this was the first one that made me go like, whoa, like this is a different feeling. Like I didn't know movies could make me feel like this, and it made me all nervous, but it stuck in there because I really enjoyed this film too.
So I think we're 5 years apart or close to it, Harrison. And I feel like your first time watching this was probably the first time I watched this. Because as far back as I can remember, I've just always thought about this giant sandworm, or the idea of this even being an idea. And it must have been, this came out in 1990. Yeah. You were born in 93?
I was born in 92, so I was 2 years old. Okay. Yeah, no, I can't even remember what house we were in when we watched it or where we watched it. I almost feel like we watched this at a cousin's house or something like that. I could see us going to Preston Baden's house and watching this.
Oh, I think you're right. Absolutely. That house. Okay, so this ties in. I was just learning about the release of this film, and just apparently this movie completely bombed. It was a complete failure on the marketing team. They didn't know how to market it. Is it a horror film? Is it an action film? Is it a comedy? They didn't really know. And I think a lot of people just, I don't know. I think they thought it was a thriller or something. So it bombed, and everyone was so dejected. They just felt like failures. And then the VHS releases and the popularity of Hollywood Video and Blockbuster and all those companies skyrocketed the sales of this movie. It was the number one rented VHS of all time, at least at that time. I don't know.
That's so cool.
I know.
That almost feels like a recurring theme for some of these better movies we've watched, is they just really haven't done well in the box office, and then they pick up steam later because I don't know, maybe this goes into the time as a good recommender. People just need time to not be sold to, they live style sold to. You just need the good stuff to filter up, because this movie is way worth it.
Absolutely.
Well, here's a slight theory that I have. So I think there's a really big difference between watching a trailer of a movie and getting excited about it and just seeing the cover of the VHS tape. I feel like when you watch a trailer, you kind of already slightly judge the film, and you think this isn't really a movie for me, or the trailer wasn't that good. I don't even know what this movie's about, so on and so forth. But when you're walking through a Blockbuster or a Hollywood store and you just see the cover of it, I don't even know what the cover of this movie is. But
it's perfect.
Yeah, I have it in my head now. No, honestly,
it's a Jaws ripoff, but it's awesome.
Yeah. But you see the cover of that VHS tape on the shelf, and I could see someone walking by and be like, "What? That looks cool. Let's do it." There's a difference between those two things.
Yeah, I was curious. Obviously the title is awesome, but I don't remember them saying the title once in the movie. Did you guys catch that? Or
Mm-mm.
I was almost
No.
surprised that it wasn't called Graboids.
Or
which is like-
seismos.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
I was like, they
mother
could've-
huggers.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't dive into it more, but I don't think they say tremors, and if they do, it's the seismology lady in the beginning, maybe just like saying that she felt or saw some tremors on that sensor thing that she has. But anyways, I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah, interesting point.
I feel like they didn't actually like come up like solidify on like, oh, they're called graboids. Like I feel like that wasn't really a thing that they like established. It was just they were just throwing names out there, and because of the sequels or like the stuff that came afterwards, like they officially were like, oh, these are officially called graboids, which is what a name. Like that doesn't that's not a very striking name for a monster, in my opinion.
There goes Walter Chang's legacy. He got eaten early, but his legacy lived on.
Yeah,
That's true. It's very true.
Graboids, that's the name.
he's trying to market it. It's like-
I love Chang.
That scene where they pull off the what do you call it? What would you call it? The tentacle, I guess, from the underneath the truck. And then they have this moment of like, hey, I'll give you $5. And I want 20. I'll give you 10, 15. All right, solid. And that one gal's like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, no, guys would do that. Like it's a very dude moment.
And I love that the next scene that you see them is them taking photographs in front of it for $3 a piece. And I was like, they're in a town of 14 people. Like everyone's lining up and giving Chang $3 a pop for a Polaroid next to this thing that they were all there to get off the bottom of the truck.
It's a long-term investment.
What?
It was
What? That's like
so good.
what he paid $15 and at max he can make like what $40 or something. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
On this watch, I think I like Kevin Bacon. He's been around forever. I just don't think I really cared for him, but I loved him in this movie. And there was one scene in particular, the scene where they're about to leave town. They've turned down the beer. They've said no to everything. They're just trying to get the hell out of this town. And then they drive by whatever his name is, stuck on the top of the electric pole. And he's like, no, that's him. He wears that same damn jacket every day.
Yeah.
They turn around, and then he has this like strut, like this walk that he does going up to climb the pole to save him. And I was like, dude, he's cooking right now. It was so good. But he has like
this is peak right here.
yeah, he has multiple lines in this movie outside of the epic one F-bomb that he drops in this movie
Yes.
that were really
Yes.
good. And I enjoyed him way more than I usually do. So shout out to Kevin Bacon for this one. It was good.
You know, just a little fun fact about Kevin Bacon in this movie. When he took this role in this film, I read just a quick little thing about it. He basically was like, yeah, I took this role for the money. I just got married. I was trying to pay for all this stuff. And I truly, truly thought this was going to destroy my career. And I was a big little pansy about this film. I'm not going to lie. Like I hated everything about it. And then he was doing this interview, you know, forever in the future. And he's like, and honestly, now I look back on it and I don't think I've ever had more fun on a set than this film. And I'm very, very grateful for it. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I was so I complained so much about this film when it came out. I'm like, that's interesting. I mean, honestly, the concept of this movie is so like wacky and so like I don't know. It's so interesting. Like I just trying to imagine someone sitting down and writing the script for this one. I feel like the guy who wrote the script had to know, like, I know exactly what kind of movie this is, and I know exactly what I'm going for. And I think he pulled it off really well. That's one thing this movie does. Is it pulls off it knows what it is.
I love hearing stuff like that, like the behind the scenes stories, especially about Kevin Bacon. And one other detail, but I know his wife was pregnant at the time.
That was it.
And just to be home, like after a long day of just like waiting for this giant worm to like pop out of the ground and it malfunctioning, and you're just like in this crazy little made up town all day long, and you're waiting for your cues, and then you go home and you're just like, dude, that must have been horrible.
I wanted to know, like, so I know that they filmed this movie across 30 days, like really short filming. Where did they live? You know, like how far away was the set for perfection from where they were staying? Was it like
I have all these
hour
answers.
drive, like 2 hour drive? Like what was this?
Okay, so I had just as much fun as I did watching the movie as I did looking at all the behind the scenes stuff. So one of the writers, SS Wilson, he has his own YouTube channel, and he has like a 15 or 20 video series of Tremors: The Lost Tapes.
I have to watch
Dude,
that.
they're incredible. And so it was a mix of him and his dad, and they had one of those over the shoulder cameras, and they just filmed everything. And about 4 or 5 years ago, he went through them finally. But you can see like the actors just kind of waiting, just like bored out of their minds, all the malfunctioning that I kind of mentioned with the worm. And like the amount of effort that went into like a 1.5 second shot or less, all the scenes with like the sand raising and all those were all filmed by the secondary like the secondary filming crew.
Mm-hmm.
And
Unit.
yeah, the secondary unit. And so many of those shots took so much time, and they didn't even use like 98% of them. And they were just pulling their hair out and like just dude, it was really cool. The cringiest part of the movie when they're doing the pole vaulting over the rocks, when they kind of talk about what went into filming that, it was amazing. So definitely look that up. That is super cool.
Directors and people who create films are absolutely crazy. It really just blows my mind. Like I've mentioned this before, but like being on a set like that or being a director just sounds like you
Hell.
have to really be passionate about it, because the amount of time, like I don't know, I could see myself being out on the set of Tremors and trying to get a shot, and after an hour of not getting it, I'd be like, okay, let's just do something else. Like like
Yeah.
if this isn't gonna work, let's move on and find something else. Like that's where my brain would go. These guys, they just have a totally different brain about it. They're like, no, like we're gonna spend 2 hours until we get the shot.
It's funny because I simultaneously hear what you're saying and be like, yeah, I would do the exact same thing. I was the director of this video game that I worked on for like 2 years, and the game got canceled. And so it'll never come out, but it was based on like 80s dark fantasy setting. And I had this idea in my head that like I don't care if anything else happens, the enemies have to move like Muppets. That's it. Like they just have to be like humans inside. Like we were going to do mocap, and we were like all prepping for it and everything like that. Build out these mocap suits and hire actual like puppeteers to come in and walk with these costumes so it moved like a Muppet, then record that and put that in the game so that the enemies felt like 80s dark fantasy creatures, you know? So like I totally also understand that need to be like, no, this is so important to me. I'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars extra for that flavor because that's important.
I just want to mention, like, we picked this movie because of the topic of small town, and this might be the greatest small town movie ever.
I will say this. One of my favorite moments in this movie is when they're driving to try and get out of town. And then they're like, wait, what the hell? They get out of the car. They walk up to the house where the sheep are all dead. And they're just like, yo, Fred, where are you? Like, just like, there's
They know
no,
everyone.
like we didn't know his name was Fred, but these guys know that he's Fred. And then they just like walk into his house. Like, there's no hesitation. Like throughout this whole film, there's no hesitation at all. They know everybody and they know everything about everybody. And that's exactly the small town vibe that I wanted when I chose this theme. That's the feeling I wanted to have. And they pulled it off very well in this movie.
And I love how every character is believably unique. Like every single one of those people would live out in the middle of nowhere in perfection for no reason.
Yep.
Yeah. No, one thing I was wondering about, I was like, okay, why is this town here? Like, I don't understand why the town even exists. Like lots of times when, you know, little towns like that pop up, it's like, oh, they went there because there was, I don't know, like a mine full of
silver
gold
mine.
or something like
Yeah.
that. There was something there, but I feel like there's no reason for them to be there.
So I'll let you in. I'll let you in on something that I learned from the Tremors Lost Tapes. So they don't
Dude,
explain it in the story, but if you look at Chang's shop, the name of the shop is painted over. It's like an old mining town. Like that's kind of the origins of it. And they used to mine talcum, I think is the mineral. It's a talcum mining town. So there, answers your question.
That was like my guesstimate, but I was like, they never say anything really about it. So
Yeah.
you know, that's another thing. Like one thing I really appreciate in movies is sometimes when they don't explain things, because sometimes it doesn't really matter. Like the graboids, they never explain where they came from, what they are, anything about them. Like we know, basically we know they theorize like, oh, it's lived forever and ever. Like it's been around for a long time. That's basically it. Like there's no like, oh, there was an atomic testing, facility, 10
Totally.
miles away, and it,
They all
you know,
speculate.
didn't do the Marvel origin story of everybody, being covered in radiation.
You know why? Because it didn't matter.
Exactly. And sometimes that's important to know. It's like, oh wait, okay, we could explain all this. And it's like, does it really matter? It doesn't. Just leave it out. It's okay. We don't need to spend time on that. Let's focus in on Kevin Bacon being amazing in this movie.
So they've got so many things in this movie to convey that there's these worms chasing them. All the things like right now in this scene we're watching, they're getting chased through the desert and they're about ready to jump over the irrigation ditch. And there's just like fence posts that get knocked over and like the ground shifts and little smoke things pop up or whatever, And I feel like those things make the graboids better. Like it's so, I don't know, it's so corny, but it's so perfect. It's like a 1950s horror flick made in the 90s with like modern script writing, And so Heather shows up and she's looking down in the ditch and she's like, "What are you guys doing?" "What's that?" That's it. And the very next scene, it's just like the most redneck thing. They're just like, "Let's bust it out of the wall."
Yeah, let's see what's going on in there. By the way, very slight, like not plot hole, but my thought process was like, wait a minute, why didn't they all just go to this irrigation ditch and walk up it? Like I don't know where it leads, but I'm assuming it goes far. So like, why didn't they just go here? But that's just me. I guess.
That's a good idea. I didn't think of that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, well, obviously the worms can't break through it because this worm just tried to do it and died. So it's like, why don't you all just go to the irrigation ditch and walk up it?
So watching this, I had this crazy memory of one of the first times that I watched this movie and remembering something that I thought at the time. Did I say that right? I had seen this movie. It came out in 1990, right? I remember seeing The Jungle Book in the movie theater. And you remember when Ka is moving?
Yes.
And you see it shift up. I remember thinking like, oh, it's like Tremors. Like I remember thinking that at the time.
That's so funny. That's so funny. No, yeah,
that's such a cool little
yeah. No. Honestly, that was exactly what I thought when it first shows up and moves the earth when it's chasing Heather in that monster perspective shot. I was like, trauma from Jungle Book right there. Like
that first person view of the tremor, like chasing whatever her name is, and just that is so cool. I love that part. Without that, the movie would be like 3% not as good.
So I mean that's such a horror film trope. I love that. Paige and I call it the Badger Cam.
That's good. No, I love a good monster perspective shot. It really just, I don't know, just changes it up a bit. Fun little fact about that. So that shot of the perspective of the worm, that shot originally actually wasn't in the film. And the other scene that wasn't originally in there was when Fred gets killed and all of his sheep get killed. And what they were trying to do was they originally took those out. And what the director was trying to do was he was trying to give off a feeling that there actually was someone actually going around and killing these people, like actually like an actual person. So when they go see Fred and his head is just in the ground, and then when they head out of town and then they yell at those construction workers like, "There's someone out here cutting everyone's heads off! Like you gotta run!" Like they were trying to do that, and then the big surprise was no, it's actually a giant worm in the earth. And I guess just studio execs or whatever, I feel like they basically came and was like, hey, you gotta kind of establish it that it's not actually a person. Like you gotta show that it's the worm. You gotta show that it's the worm kind of throughout, before it shows up to kind of prep the audience, or else it's too scary or too dark or something like that.
Yeah, the opening scene was removed in post-production, but apparently it was like something similar, but it was a tremor killing like a donkey or something all alone. And then there was another thing that I picked up on the research, but the older couple when they get killed at nighttime
grabs the car and pulls it down.
That scene is sick. Yeah, that scene is awesome. But apparently it was originally like way more violent. And I really wish they still had that somewhere because I would love to see that cut.
So, quick question: in these lost Tremor videos you found, did they ever talk about like what the worm was made of? Like when the guts are everywhere, I just keep staring at it. I'm like, what is this? Like, what's the mixture?
There's a really cool scene. They get these 5-gallon drums of it's literally, I think it's just called slime. Like we should have that in the podcast studio. A bucket of slime.
Not just a barrel of Tremor slime.
They're just grabbing these big globs of it and shoving it in the graboid's mouth and like just spreading it around, and it looks insane. But it's just a movie prop bucket of slime you can just get.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Just a couple of household items and cleaners and the correct proportions.
Yep.
That's basically it. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, the practical effects in this movie were amazing, and even better once you like see everything that goes into it. It was so cool.
That's the one thing that I kept watching and going, I love this corny graboid.
Yeah.
Like, and the number of times it was like, oh, that was a reverse shot, or you know, whatever to make the little head things articulate correctly, or it was like, obviously it was just someone's hand in a puppet sock, you know. Like, there had to have been like 40 different ways that they could make those snakes move for different shots, for different articulations and stuff. Yeah, I'm really glad that those lost tapes and stuff. And I saw you posted on our Discord channel. There was a thing about how the graboids worked and just behind the scenes of how they worked and stuff. And I'm gonna go back and watch that. I didn't want to steal your thunder for those at the time, but freak,
it's insane. One other cool thing that just comes to mind too, but just talking about the town of perfection, you can still see it from space, like the outlines of all the roads that they had, and then you can where all the trailers were, and it's really cool. But you can go and visit it. I forget where it's out of, somewhere in Nevada, I think.
Probably. I mean, the movie's set in Nevada.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you guys this. We love this movie, obviously. What did you not like about this movie? let's just be really critical.
There's a stretch in the middle of the movie where you're kind of like, I felt like I was watching it and I was just kind of like chewing on it, like, okay, all right, we're still, nothing's changed. Okay, they're all on the rooftops. Okay. All right, the worm's figuring stuff out. Okay. Like, you know,
that part of the film.
There definitely was like a dry spell where it's like, okay, you know, the beginning section we're establishing everything, and then the middle is just like, okay, now we're gonna have about 30 minutes of them just trying to survive in the town and like slowly climbing up to the top of the building, and you're like, okay, like there was definitely a little dry spell in the middle there for me.
Yeah, I don't like. There's two characters in the town that I don't like personally. The teenage boy. I was like, who do you belong to?
Yeah.
I was like, are you actually related to somebody in this town? And then his dad.
Yeah, that was it. It was his dad. Like, I literally, when he pops up in that yellow shirt and he gets killed when he sits inside of that tire, I was like, this guy was created to die. Like he didn't even get any like screen time at all. Like he was just like, I don't like, every time he popped up, I was like, oh yeah, that guy is still here.
Hello, that guy.
Yeah, actually, one thing was interesting. I swear more people died in this movie, like from my memory as a kid. But like, let me think. 1, 2, 3, like 3 people die. Like it's not really a lot. And 2 of those are characters we don't care about. The only character who died was the shop owner. That I was like, oh, that was a bummer.
I don't really know what to say because Melvin, the kid you guys hate, reminded me of me.
Yeah, well, you know, Ren, I'm going to be honest, I probably would have hated you.
I meet people that remind me of myself. I hate them.
Oh, that's the worst moment ever.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that way about me too, so it's all good.
The main thing I didn't like in this movie was this weird return of this like joke that isn't funny of the pardon my French.
Oh, yeah.
It's not funny. I didn't get like, I didn't like that. That's about it. Oh, and then how straight the poles are when they pole vault. I don't like how straight they are.
Yeah, it's like
find of the century. Why are those there?
Yeah, it's like those are definitely man-made. Like there's no way those just appear that way. I will say I do like how quickly they set up Earl and Val. Like I'm talking like 1 minute into the movie and you're like, I know exactly who these guys are. I know exactly what kind of friendship they got. Like they did a really good job of like I said, I feel like this movie, when they made this movie, I feel like they knew they only had 90 minutes to tell us this whole story. They only had 90 minutes to tell this whole story, and they used every single second of it very efficiently.
Yeah. Okay. So I watched this movie the first time I watched it, and then immediately went out and rented the second one, and I put it in,
Man.
and
Was
I
nice.
made it maybe 10 minutes into that movie, and was like, "This is just not good," and I turned it off.
Okay, guys, let's do this because I had to I planned this out. Okay, how many sequels to Tremors is there?
I know the answer.
Yeah, I know the
Yeah.
answer too. It's
You
like
know the
7 or
answer?
something, right?
Well, I
Yep.
thought 5, but what's the answer?
Let's see. Wait, I wrote it down for a second. Right now, okay, so there's 6 movies and there's 1 TV show. By the way, that TV show is 13 episodes long. No, there's 2 TV shows. There's 2 actually, because Kevin Bacon actually stars in one. Which
Oh,
I didn't
really?
know came out. Yeah, there's a TV show called Tremors, and it's got Kevin Bacon in it. It's like 13 episodes long. It came out in 2018. And I was like, what? Like, where did this come from?
When did Tremors: A Cold Day in Hell come out?
Oh, that one. That one came out in 2018. Actually, you also have Tremors: Shrieker Island, which came out in 2020. We have Tremors 5: Bloodlines, Tremors 4: The Legend Begins, Tremor 3: Back to Perfection, and then Tremors 2: Aftershock, which is actually a really awesome sequel, like name for a movie that's a sequel. Like that's really cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, okay, maybe you guys know this, but do you guys know who like the star of all the sequels is?
It's Bert.
It's so cool. I absolutely love that the guy who played Bert was like, you know what? I'm down. Let's do it. 6 more movies.
Yeah,
I want to
This
do
is
all of
my
them.
franchise now.
Yeah, apparently after the sales took off, Kevin Bacon was like, he was going on to do Apollo 13, but he was originally going to do Tremors 2, but then he backed out for Apollo 13 and stuff. And so it was kind of like they salvaged the second movie, and it didn't do very well. And I was trying to figure out why. Like, what about that movie turned me off so much, and why did I like the first one so much? And so here's my take. Here's my very Scott take on this, okay? This movie, Tremors 1, is first and foremost a character-driven movie. Val and Earl could have carried this movie no matter what the plot was. And they established that in like the first 30 minutes of this movie, and nothing with monsters happens like to the main characters. It's all like the introducing them, the like, oh, the sheep got eaten or stuff like that. But it's not about the monsters. It's about them isolated trying to get out of town for the first 30 minutes. And for a monster movie, that's a long time. But it really established him or established Val and Earl really well. And they're likable, funny characters that have got really relatable flaws. And all the townspeople have their individual relatable flaws. And then once the town's established, they throw in the monster stuff. And it was like, okay, now we've got this plot to see how they deal with it. And it wasn't like, this movie wasn't about the monsters. It was about the characters. And I think that's what carried it the whole time, and why it's got that cult classic flavor instead of just being like The Fly or, like They or whatever, like some 50s monster movie or something like that.
Well, I'm gonna take things even deeper.
Whoa.
Ren.
Another layer in the sand.
I'm digging deep into this story. Okay, you've just primed me. Okay, so here we go. Perfection Nevada is actually hell.
Oh my god.
And the graboids are its demons. Each character represents a cardinal sin or a moral failing. Bert is wrath and paranoia. Earl and Val are sloth/indecision. The shopkeeper is greed. The graboids are the ultimate judgment that emerges to punish the town for its stagnation. The ones who survive are the ones who learn to work together and overcome their personal flaws. What do you think about that?
Dang, Ren. You just took a movie that has no chance of being deep, no chance of making us feel anything, and you just pulled our hearts out.
The armchair therapist,
Philosopher,
film philosopher. Yeah, what are we?
I guess my role's been subverted. I give you my crown.
There you go. I mean,
You know,
it's one of those
it's
things
funny.
that, like, there might be something. I don't know, but
You know, it's funny if I follow that, right? They
here we
really
go.
do start the movie showing that Val and Earl hate being in town. They just want to get out so bad, but they keep going back to their vices, whatever their vices. Beer, whatever,
Yeah.
free beer.
Yeah, we finally said no to free beer.
And then the minute that they're like
They're high
actually
fiving that they said no to beer. That's so
Yeah, woo!
the minute they're actually leaving town, the monsters keep them from leaving town. So it was like, yeah, isolation out there, going to your vices, wanting to get out, not being able to. Oh yeah, there. It was a monster movie because they had to take the main girl's pants off at some point.
The best part of the
Oh
movie.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. That
Totally necessary.
100%.
Okay, let me throw another idea at you. Tremors is The Shining because
Ren.
the town of perfection was built on the graboids' natural habitat, just as the hotel in The Shining was built on an Indian burial ground.
It's
What do
basically
you
The
think
Shining,
about
guys.
that? Tremors is basically The Shining.
Yeah, and the axe that in The Shining is replaced by a pickaxe in this film.
It's colonialism. It's us just erasing history and the karma that comes from that and our choices.
The damn patriarchy.
This is a whole subgenre in our podcast where we're just going to be like, okay, we're going to take B movies, crappy B movies, and turn them deep. Like we're going to find everything. We're going to make these intense.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I will say the one scene that made me actually feel something, that made me go like, whoa, I didn't expect that, was when they're all on the rooftops and they're like, okay, here's the plan. They, communicate it to everyone, and then the sandworms eat up Bert's truck. I actually had a moment of like, oh my gosh, I feel like they're helpless. Like I actually like felt something in my chest, like, oh, that's rough. I hope they figure it out.
I think the other thing that really makes this movie work is that all the characters act rationally the whole movie.
Yes.
There's no that character was made to die, like Harrison's character aside.
Yeah.
There was no like, oh, they're obviously here to be annoying so that you're not mad when they die. There was no let's split up for no reason. There was no ignoring warnings for no reason. Everything was like, hey, we all want to get out of this together. And then everyone, had flaws or things didn't work out. Even when like Bert and Heather, they're down in their basement, just like ready to take on whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, get on the roof. It's like, what are you talking about? That wasn't ignoring warnings. It was like, I don't understand. We're so prepared and cocky that like, there's nothing that can stop us. We're just going to go, we're going to put our plan into action. And it just so happened to be, like he said, the scene later, like 5 years worth of food, air filtration, satellites, all the stuff. And he's like, underground monsters.
Yeah.
I felt the exact same way when they were on the rock and where they're kind of experimenting how the tremor attacks them, and they kind of put the trap and then how it like bites anything that, and then they're like, oh, well, it can't see. It can only feel. And then they start throwing rocks to throw off at their scent. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, this is believable. I feel like if you had a group of terrified people, the process of elimination of how they figured out how it reacted to them, it felt really realistic. I thought that was
No, that
well
is
done.
really cool to watch a movie like this and be like, okay, everybody actually has a head on their shoulder and they can all figure this out. Like, look, some of them are missing some brain cells in there for sure, but eventually they're gonna figure it out.
Listen, I'm here to make money. I like rocks a lot. I don't have to be your friend. I will die.
I like rocks.
A lot.
Scott will find a way to jab Prometheus at any chance he can get.
I was thinking about oh, go ahead.
Now, speaking of Bert and them, I'm pretty sure that this whole movie was made just for that rec room scene. Like I remember as a kid watching it, and then like the worm bursts through, they're just unloading their guns, and then it pans over to the wall of guns. I remember getting hyped as a kid, just being like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna be so cool.
It's
Just
such a
grab it
casual
anything at it.
reveal. Like
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
favorite part. It's like, well, obviously they're the preppers. They're gonna have guns, and they're like pulling out crazy guns. Like Reba's grabbing like the rifle, the scope off her back and stuff, and then the shotgun shows up, and then it just casually pans over to their wall, and the whole thing was just covered in rifles. Like
Yep.
beautiful,
Now,
beautiful.
the image I'll always remember is Reba McEntire holding 2 Uzis and just going to town on that thing. And then they pull out the elephant gun. I remember that was a pretty cool moment as a kid too.
I have a reoccurring, or something I've noticed about myself is I'll see these like actors in films that we watch, and they get typecast into like playing the same character. So I have to mention Ariana Richards, the pogo stick girl from Jurassic Park. She's just
Yeah.
like always in the worst situations you can imagine, and about to like be killed by something. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of funny.
And quiet
I go
and
into
scared.
Yeah, just
I
she
go into
screams
danger
all
without
the-
thought.
Yeah, she's always screaming at the top of her lungs. And it was weird. Like when it shows her jumping on the pogo stick. And yeah, she reminded me of Paige.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
same color hair, like off in her own little world with her headphones on.
Yes,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that's Paige. That's so funny. For the
That's so
listeners,
true. Oh my
Paige
gosh.
is Ian Harrison's sister, Scott's wife.
Yeah.
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 I get to claim brohood through marriage.
Yeah.
Through the awesomeness of the blonde pogo stick girl.
Yes.
Let's see, just going through my notes. One thing I will say, so I mentioned a couple times it's always fun to watch a movie and you kind of have to find the scene that kind of lets you know what kind of movie this is. And I think this one sets the tone right from the beginning. As soon as you see Kevin Bacon like zip up his pants, you're just like, all right, I know what movie I'm watching.
And then picking his butt.
yeah, yeah.
That's funny. I was just about to mention that, but I love like subtle foreshadow, but that's where the movie ends too. So you can
Yep.
just see how far his pee is just flying down the mountain, and then that's where
And that's where the
grappling
worm goes
flies
to.
off. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's the perfect ending.
Dude,
Never
by
didn't catch
the
that.
way, that scene where the worm flies off in the air and then he turns around and yells at it, I got flashbacks to the Untouchables.
Oh yeah,
You can't fly, and then and then Kevin Costner be like, "Is that what he sounded like?" Like that was my connection moment. That I was like, "Boom, there you go." Untouchables, Tremors, same level.
Yeah, I got a
Oh,
question. But one of the original title for this movie, I think I like more, but I want to see what you guys think.
Ooh, okay, I'm ready.
Beneath Perfection.
Ah,
It's kind of cool.
it's
It's not as marketable.
mm,
No,
But
that's
it's
a great.
pretty cool.
That's a
yeah,
great
not as
title.
marketable, but I like. You know what? Honestly, I would love for this movie to be based on a book and have the book be called that. That's what I would want.
Okay. Glad you guys agree. Going back to things I didn't like about the movie, I just want to shout out Finn Carter, the seismology lady. She does not do it for me. I feel like they could have recast her entirely and the movie would have been better, like no matter who you picked. Like, she's lame. Dude, there are multiple shots, like when she's like celebrating and she's like doing the fist pump. It's pretty bad. It was not.
I mean, I'll
Not my
push
jam.
I'll push back on that. Maybe she is just the perfect
Awkward.
seismology student.
Okay. All right.
We'll give you that
Well,
one.
So
She's an outsider.
I don't know. I like that they tacked on the end of like, all of a sudden he's like, all right, I'm gonna go ask her out and kiss her, and you're just like, okay, like Hollywood moment, let's go. Yeah, okay, go.
So as soon as they stopped filming, they demolished the town.
Mhm.
They sent it in, they did some test screenings, and they were basically just like, the ending has to be changed. Like, it sucked. And I think it had to do with them, like, Val and Earl are like in their car and they're like, we did it! And they high five and like they leave the town and that's it. Yeah,
Thanks, friend.
Yeah, it was bad.
The power of friendship.
No one liked it.
Yeah.
So, if you notice in the end, when Val and the seismology girl, and I don't want to know her name, when they walk out, like all you can see is like a fence and just like a long road to nothing. It's because the town was gone, but they had to film that scene later. And even I just feel like both endings sucked. They needed to have a completely new ending, but yeah, I didn't feel really anything with the ending kiss because it felt rushed, and apparently it was. It's like it just bled through the film. It was
Well, the thing is, like, I feel like they don't like establish the fact that he even likes her, like, at all
Yeah.
throughout the movie. Like, you never have a moment of like, oh, he's interested in her, and like, there's no like resolution of like, he finally got over the fact that he just wants a tall, blonde, big
Yeah.
boob chick. Like, go you, like you found you wanted to be with the brunette. Like, there's no like exciting like conclusion. You're not like happy for him. You're just kind of like, all right, go you.
Hey man,
man.
he's brave. He lowered the bar, man. That's a brave thing to do. All right.
Lowered the bar.
Good job.
Good on him.
This is such a show made by a couple of bros.
Oh yeah, no, definitely a bro one. Let's see. I just had a couple small little notes to add in. I love the fact that when they're cleaning up they're doing like their garbage day, and they sit down to take a break, and he just pulls a beer out of a toilet and hands it to Earl. I thought that was pretty solid. I like when he's talking about like, all right, this chick's gonna have be all legs and big boobs and blonde hair, and then when he whips out that picture from the visor of his truck, I totally saw that. And I was like, this guy peaked in high school and never left high school. That's exactly what this guy does, and this is the truck that he's had for his whole entire life, which is is cool in one way, but. Oh, and then the last thing I really liked was when they finally decide to leave. When they're packing things up, I love that Earl just grabs a pile of clothes and just shoves it in the back of his truck. Like, it's not in a box. It's not packed away. He just shoves it and, pushes it in the crevices. And he's like, all right, that's good enough. And then they grab the sign on the way out. That made me.
I was like, hey, compared to other movies we've watched, I could watch this with my kids. And so I put it on, and my 6-year-old and my 3-year-old were there. And they both made it through Jurassic Park just fine. But they were terrified of this movie.
Really?
Why? Why were... Harrison, can you understand why they would be terrified of this, but not Jurassic Park? I'll tell you what they said when I asked them later, but I want to know your take.
We're surrounded by ground.
Yeah, so my thought process would be dinosaurs are just generically cool. And this giant worm is unknown. It's also underneath the ground. The little tentacles that shoot out of its mouth are actually kind of scary looking, I don't know, like, I feel like what's scarier, a squid with a million arms coming at you, or one big thing with one big mouth? It's all the squids, it's the multiple arms, the multiple things slithering at you. You have multiple things you have to keep track of so it doesn't get you, stuff like that.
I think that's a fair point. I was also going to add to it. My thought was, well, maybe they just don't understand the humor to recognize that this isn't actually a scary movie. I asked him, and he said, because it has mutant monsters and dinosaurs. And I said, so you mean Jurassic Park or Tremors? And he was like, Tremors. So yeah, I think you're right, Harrison. It's just the fact that it's like it's a creature instead of a thing that he's already wrapped his head around.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's that fear of the unknown, and plus it's like it's under the ground. You don't know where it is. But I don't know. Maybe not for kids, but like as a person, like if I was running away from something I couldn't see, that's more terrifying than running away from something I can see.
Now, the first time I ever watched the movie It, I was probably 7 or 8 years old, so pretty close to my 6-year-old's age.
Not
and
shocked.
I was scared.
Can you imagine showing that to your kid?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't think that he would.
Which is funny because, Red, I know you've shown that to your kids.
Yeah, I know. They love it.
You said that like, could you imagine? That's crazy. It's like, you did that, Ren. Don't give me that.
How old was your oldest when you showed it to him?
He's 9 now. He's probably 7. Yeah.
So probably 6, 7?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was at a friend's house and was watching it. And I remember my mom being really mad when I got in the car later that I had watched that movie. But the scene, I mean, there's 2 scenes, right? There's the bathtub scene where the blood like bubbles out of the bathtub. And then there's like at the beginning of the movie when it's like so bizarre when she like holds the picture of her son that had gotten killed and the blood just like comes out of it and she's like yelling at him because they're like, why'd you get into my kid's room, or whatever she's doing.
Can't see the blood.
And it's so like uncanny, like there is something unnatural about what's going on here, and that like that unnaturalness really bothered me as a kid. And so I can imagine the ground is a safe place, but if it's no longer a safe place, that's really unnatural. So yeah,
That's a good point. Hey, let me defend myself though. So before I showed them it at the age of 6, I said, "Hey, these are all fake. Clowns aren't haunted."
Oh, I thought you were gonna say clowns aren't real.
I almost did.
Clowns aren't real.
Every time you see blood, it's like food coloring. So I let them know ahead of time, like it's all fake. And then when they like they just stand there frozen, and then someone says action, and then they pretend that they're clowns. So I think I'm like trying to get it into their head that like this is all staged. It looks real, but it's a game. It's a mind trick.
Full disclosure, Paige and I have had discussions about whether or not our kids should be able to watch scary stuff. And we've talked about you showing your kids it. And I'm like, and so here's my argument. My argument is like, well, I mean, you can't like totally have them be under a rock, right? Like, the point of a scary movie is that you get to experience like genuine terror and fear and stuff like that and work through it in a safe scenario so that you're like, you know, and these are like developmentally important things for humans, but kids to go through. And Paige's argument is like, yeah, but you know, those kids, they have like nightmares after watching those movies. So is it worth it?
Legitimate. My only like argument is like, yeah, but then they'll have nightmares like that, and then I suffer. That's really the only reason I have it sometimes. Like my kids, I don't know, my kids haven't been exposed to a lot of like scary, terrifying movies like It or anything like that. But I honestly wouldn't have. I don't think I'd have much of a problem showing them something like that.
I think if you watch a scary movie and you like laugh with them, like it's fun. It's like exciting. Like we watched a scary movie last night and I was like, oh, like I'm like having a good time with the kids and I'm looking at their faces and they're like, it's not scary. And then like 10 minutes go by and Knox is like cuddling with Allie. It's really fun. My one thing I want to add to this hypothetical argument is
our parenting discussion.
Yeah. First of all, knowing what you watched, you turned out great.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I did not watch a scary movie that I can remember, and definitely not a scary movie till I saw The Ring when I was 13.
Oh,
and I like crapped my pants. Like I couldn't believe how scared I was.
Now, to be fair,
I had no buffer.
To be fair, The Ring was terrifying, especially being 13. When I was the same age as you when it came out, and I absolutely could not believe how scary that movie was to a 13-year-old. I actually haven't watched it since, and I kind of don't want to because I want it to stay as scary as it was.
Yeah,
right.
I'm afraid that it'll ruin it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the most scary films I had watched ever was It. The opening scene of The Shining when the elevator doors open and the blood pours out. Okay, absolutely terrifying. Similar, unnatural. Like that is an unnatural thing, and therefore it was like cold wash terror.
It's a good point.
Also, the twins standing in the hallway really bothered me. And then, other than that, it was Nightmare on Elm Street. Like Freddy Krueger. Also, Dreamscape. You can't run away. The world manipulates itself. They try to run up the stairs. The stairs are like buckets of tar that they can't pull their feet out of. The phone like licks their face when they talk in it. The walls reaching out to them and stuff. Like all that really, really unnatural stuff really bothered me. So The Ring was a very similar, uncanny, like your face warps and stuff. Like really, really bothered me. And I think it scared me because I had all of the childhood trauma. So I don't know that it was necessarily better or worse, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting, and I'm probably closer to you, Ren. Like, I would rather watch it with them and help them work through it, than shelter them from the thing. You know?
No, I get you. No, honestly, the first point you brought up, Ren, I think of stuff like that all the time, where I'm like, Man, there was a lot of things growing up that I was like, oh, I shouldn't do XYZ because it'll ruin my life or it'll, you know, I'll
Yeah.
turn out to a terrible human being if I do X or Y.
I mean,
Yeah, right. Like I'm in my 30s right now. And it's like, look, like I went to therapy. I got over some trauma in my life. But when I think back to some stuff in the past, I'm like, I kind of want to go back. If I, it's funny, someone posted on Reddit and they were like, hey, if you can go back in time and talk to your, 12-year-old self, what would you say? And I just wrote, I was like, look, I go back in time, I'd list like these 5 things and be like, hey, all these things you're stressing about, none of it's gonna matter. like save yourself a lot of mental like strain and stress and just stop worrying about these things. You'll be okay.
Can you imagine though, if you from the future came and told you that, you'd be like, I don't care what you say because I'm a teenager and all I have is emotions inside me. What I want is myself to come from the future and just give me a hug and be like, bro, chill the heck down.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. And I know it feels like it does. It just doesn't matter. Let me give you a hug until you feel okay. And I'll come and give you a hug every time you need it. Like, that would have made me, like, my teenage years so much better. I'm just like, no, it's really okay.
Yeah.
I'd come back and be like, dude, adults don't even know what they're doing. It's okay.
Yeah, there, you know what?
You
That's
never
probably the
figure
biggest thing. Well, okay, so yeah, thinking back to how old my kid is right now, he's 9 years old. And then I thought back to, okay, where was I when I was 9 years old? Okay, we were in the Chris Courthouse, the yellow one. And I remember thinking that my parents knew everything and knew exactly what they were doing. And then I thought about myself and I'm like, I don't know everything and I don't know what I'm doing a lot of times. So my kid thinks I know everything. I don't know anything. It's just really funny to put yourself in perspective of that.
It's a fallacy
But,
to think that.
Pretty much. I mean, like, well, like honestly, and then anyway, bringing it back to what we were talking about, like I didn't watch scary movies growing up. I didn't like them at all. And I don't think like, oh, I didn't watch scary movies, therefore I became a better person because like that's just not true at all. So
I just know all the cool kids saw scary movies before me, and I was really jealous of that. In fact, I remember I had this memory. We were talking about Alien a few weeks ago, and I forgot to mention this little tidbit, but I remember being at our Uncle Marvin's house,
oh boy.
and I was there with Chris, and I forget why they were just kind of watching us just for a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, let's put on Alien," and I the first thing I was like, "That's rated R. I don't know if I should watch that." And I was like, "Okay."
Trauma.
He's like, "You sure? It's kind of scary," and I was like, "I'm cool." And
Whatever.
he turned it on, and all I remember was the opening, like interior shots. And Dad got wind of it, and he like bolted over and picked me up like right away. So that one thing that would have been my first scary movie, but Dad saved my life. So it was just a funny
so
moment.
He
glad.
saved you from the button interiors.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you might have saw Sigourney Weaver's butt right there.
Dude.
You
Would've
mean
changed
Sigourney
your
Weaver's
world.
little boy underwear? Anyway, is there anything else we want to talk about Tremors? Before we
I
shut
will
down
say
today?
this. I will say this. I am extremely glad this movie exists. I love the fact that they knew exactly what kind of movie they were making and they went for it. I wanted to bring this up. Another TV show that knows what they are and they stick with it. It's a TV show called Merlin. And I feel like when they make the movie, they're like, yeah, we know we're a low budget fantasy movie and we're going to lean into it and we're going to have fun. And I feel like that's what this movie did. So I'm glad this movie exists. I love watching it. I'll watch it again and I'll recommend it to people. That being said, I think this is this is like a 3.5, but it's like so much better than that. Like I don't know. Like I have to put it at a 3.5 on my rating sheet. So when I look at the rating, I understand like what it is, but I'll still recommend it like at like a 5-star because like everybody should watch this movie. But
One thing I want to point out that we forgot to mention, I love the blatant product placement for the Pepsi Cola and the Crush Orange in the in Chang's shop. That I just had to get that off my chest. I love that stuff.
Consume.
Yeah. Bye, consume. Sleep. Yeah, so the other night I watched Happy Gilmore 2 and I gave it a 2-star rating and I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
So this is the dilemma of rating everything. So I guess I freaking love this movie, but yeah, it's like I'll 4. It's a 4. But I love it and it's more of like a 5. Fuck it, it's a 5. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Oh,
four
man.
for me.
Yeah, there you go.
It's incredible. I'm so glad it exists, and I can't imagine this movie not existing. It's awesome.
I think I'm gonna have to pull a Harrison on this one. I think this is like a 3.5. But I balls love this movie. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so good, and it's so sharp and so well made. I think it's almost like an honor for it to be a 3. You know? It's like,
Well,
can you rate this a 5 and be like, and put it up there next to Interstellar or something like that as a 5?
like-
No. But
it's like, no, you can't. Well, no, I think part of ratings is setting expectations to me. Because sometimes there's nothing worse than going into a movie being so hyped about it and then it just drops the ball. It like
Yeah.
makes the movie just so much more worse. And this is one of those movies like, look, it's a 3.5, and that's what you're gonna get, but you're gonna have a really good time.
Yeah.
Like,
this is going to be your party movie for the rest of your life because it's just that good.
yeah, it is. It's like
That's
throw it
true.
on, do it.
Oh, I
What a
gotta
great-
say,
what a great movie.
I appreciate that Kevin Bacon has long hair, but it's not a mullet. It's like a redeeming quality that he is almost mullety without actually stooping to mullet level.
He's like a true redneck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One other question for you guys, but at the end of the movie, Reba McEntire's music plays.
Oh, it's perfect.
Does she owe her career to this movie, or was she famous before? I'm really not clear on this, or how she got the part. I have no idea about any of this.
Well, my headcanon is that she was nothing until this movie, and then
I
she
want to
is-
believe that.
and then Reba McEntire became Reba McEntire.
Let's see. So some half-ass research here. Ready?
Hey, Harrison, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to shatter your view? Okay, this is a quick Google search with the AI overview, guys. There's no validity to this at all. Reba McEntire's rise to fame is a story of gradual success, with her first major breakthrough coming in 1982 with the hit "Can't Even Get the Blues." There you go.
Well, that's the end of the
1982.
show. See you guys.
All right, yep.
There you go. That's all we need to know.
No.
Buy our merch. Bye.
Well, awesome episode. Did we get everything out?
No, yeah, no, I'm sitting ready to go. Well, what are we watching? What's the next movie? I can't even remember. Is
The
it
next
Lone
movie-
Star?
No.
Or no?
Lone Star.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, no, not
No.
Lone Star.
No, the next film is Paris, Texas. Thank you. I
Yeah.
forgot. Small town. We're still on this category. And speaking of categories, next week we all have to have our new categories, and we're gonna do the drawing at the end of that episode.
All right.
This is a really fun episode. Everyone should go watch Tremors, and we'll see you next week for The Devil All the Time. Sorry in advance.
I love you.
All right. That was a lot of fun.
I'll see you guys
Peace.
around.
All right, brother. Have a good night. Later.
That's a wrap, and thanks for hanging out with us. Cinema Slime is a production hosted by Harrison Jensen, Ren Jensen, and Scott Shepard. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by Harrison with design and art by Ren. There's more slime coming your way, so don't forget to subscribe, share, and drop a comment. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms with links in the episode notes, and on Patreon, we will have exclusive content and merch. Until next time, go watch a movie.